It is a weather impact alert day here on our First Coast. And right now, let's take a live look at Jax Beach. We are approaching high tide tonight. Hurricane Erin bringing some rough surf and some rip currents to our local beaches as it passes hundreds of miles offshore.
So let's show you a live look now. This is Kiowa Island in South Carolina, courtesy of EarthCam. You can see the tall waves there rolling in, and you can see in the distance a few people still out there at the beach.
So we're on your side tonight with some live team coverage of Erin's impact on our area. Meteorologist Ross Mumont will be joining us live from Huguenot Park, and Zach Wilcox is at Jax Beach.
But first tonight, we want to start with Chief Meteorologist Lewis Turner timing out the impacts and what we can expect here. Lou?
Yeah, guys, you mentioned off the top, we're about an hour out from high tide, and I showed this picture out at the pier. You can see some of the water already making it up pretty high there out at Jacksonville Beach. We've still got another hour to go till high water. High tides around the region, 6:55, mentioned that Jacksonville Beach, so precisely 55 minutes, and we'll have that 6:48 in St. Augustine, and a little bit later for St. Simon's Island, St. Mary's, and Fernandina Beach will watch till 7:41. That high water, the high tides really kind of ending those main major impacts that we would have experienced. Major, kind of relative term, right? Considering that it's a beautiful bluebird day. So here is a look, that visible satellite, sun beginning to set on it, so getting a little bit darker, kind of showing you a few things with this, talking about passing hundreds of miles away. It is now north of 30 degrees north, so north of parallel with Jacksonville, 493 miles from Jacksonville to that eye. All right, so about the closest point that ever came to the First Coast, about 450 miles, so it is now growing in distance away from us as it moves out. Even the cloud cover and those tropical storm force winds, I showed just kind of the length of this storm, how big it is, where the edges of those tropical force winds could be felt. 721 miles, a little bit tighter when we're talking about the 110 mile an hour sustained winds. And Futurecast showing it moving out and away from us. As we get into Thursday, though, by the evening, notice, of course, the counterclockwise flow around the low, all of that impacting even as so far away towards North Florida. We'll be dealing with those westerly winds, enhancing that Gulf sea breeze collision with the Atlantic. So you can see painted here across Northeast Florida that chance for some showers and thunderstorms, that more summertime pattern, because we're going to have heat mid-90s as we go through our Thursday. With that humidity, we'll certainly see a couple of chances of thunderstorms. Let's talk more about our beach conditions, though. Meteorologist Ross is in the protector this afternoon with us from Huguenot. I know we've been talking about watching that high water. What's it looking like there, Ross?
Yeah, well, you can certainly tell that the high tide is beginning to increase and coming in here. So I want to switch you first to our roof camera and give you a live look out at the actual waves. You know, we've talked about this a lot here this evening. Wave height's about 5 to 6 feet, but really it's going to be more so that tide now beginning to come in. So this is a live look from our dash cam here on the Protector, and you can see some of those darker shaded areas in the sand. That's where the tide has begun to come in. So there are a few locations that are really anywhere from about 20 to 30 yards still away from the dunes, but really just within about the last 30 minutes, a lot of folks have begun to vacate the beach here now as that tide begins to come in. But we spoke with the park ranger at the front gate here at Huguenot Park. We asked him, are you concerned about flooding concerns both at the campground and also in just some of the in and out roads to the park here? They are not concerned about that, at least here on Huguenot Park. They said yes, they are expecting the water to come up a bit, but not to the point that it would cross over any of the roadways or impact any of the campers here at the park. So some good news on that front, but we'll give you one last look at the roof cam as that water continues to come in as we continue to feel those impacts from Hurricane Erin. For First Coast News, I'm meteorologist Ross Mumont on your side.
An impression with a big swell and high tides. Zach Wilcox joins us live now from Jacksonville Beach, and the ocean rescue out there in full force today. We are hearing nobody had to be rescued. I hope that's still true.
Yeah, Jeannie, Ocean Rescue just pulled the chairs back. We're running out of dry sand to be standing on, and they're wrapping up for the day here. They still have some patrols going up and down the beach, but as you mentioned, 0 rescues, and that is a great number to be at. They attribute that to having those crews all day long going up and down the beach, and also having lifeguards every other block or so keeping an eye on folks, not keeping people out of the water necessarily, but keeping an eye on and making sure that they are going as far in as they can with their given ability, swimming abilities, and just going and telling folks about the conditions and trying to pull them out if they are going out a little too far. You know who's going out really far are the surfers here. And it's a good thing we've had no rescues because some of the surfers have had to go pretty far out to that break line. We talked with one who only moved here a week ago for school, and he mentioned it's been a hard time to get to class with the surf this good, and he also mentioned that at times it's felt a little above his skill level.
I'm not the greatest surfer by any means. I'm definitely on the more beginner to intermediate level. Yeah, I'm also not the best swimmer, so I'm really, I got a board that floats really good, but yeah, it's definitely scary out there. Anybody that says they're not a little worried are either a pro or lying to you.
Some words of advice there for a lot of surfers, and I want to, now that we know that people have been okay, I want to highlight something that's not as okay, and that's the sea turtles. You can see this nest that's just recently been inundated as the tide has come up. I reached out to a professor at JU who mentioned that based on what he can see, this nest is likely lost because you can have water washing over the top, but you can't have water sitting on top of those nests. So they're going to go out tomorrow and catalog all the nests that have been damaged, disturbed by the high tide. And he mentioned that this is, unfortunately, as sad as it is to see and as helpless as I feel watching it happen, this is kind of just part of Mother Nature. At Jack's Beach, Zach Wilcox, First Coast News on your side.